Hey now, Grizz here. So today I thought I would talk about how this whole swizzarmygrizz thing came to be, how my channel came to be, how I got into collecting knives, and what this all means for me. First of all, I'd like to thank my friend Tobias for sending me some of his stickers, and for sending me a coaster from his buddy Skip's Bar. You know, I've got a theory. I think Tobias and Skip the Show, hear me out, I think they're the same guy. Notice, you never see both of them in the same place, do you? No. Think about that for a while, don't you? I'm telling you. Tobias is Skip, Skip is Tobias. Case closed. Anyway, so how did I get into collecting knives? Well, it's a kind of a, not a funny story, kind of a dark story. I was in a very dark place in my life. I was in a horribly codependent relationship. I had just started to become, fall prey to the symptoms of my arthritis. I have a very severe arthritis. Both of my hips are shot. My right knee is locked at a 45-degree angle. My shoulders are shot. I'm working on getting surgeries for all this stuff, and I have other health problems. It's a mess, but that's besides the point. The point is, I was in a low spot. It happens to the worst of us, or even the best of us. You know, everybody's got those times where you just gotta keep on trudging and get through it. And that's where the knives came in. I had become disabled. My mobility was extremely limited. Even in a wheelchair, it was so painful for me to move from like one position to another that I often just spent days in bed. I spent days alone in my room. I had ended a relationship and then now was completely alone, basically. And so I happened to have a death in the family, and I went there to help clean out the house to get it sold on down the line. And I came upon a couple of knives in a drawer, so I grabbed them because they were my cousin's knives. The first one I grabbed was this guy right here, Bong Bong, little equal end 2-blade jackknife. It's got the Delrin scales, covers, whatever you want to call them, are in great condition. They haven't shrunk or shriveled or cracked or anything. It's got the nice, nicely patinaed nickel silver bolsters, the little double-ended flying squirrel badge or whatever you want to call it, brass pins, just very nicely made. Everything's nice and flush and level, carbon steel. And this is a Camillus knife. First up, it's got a nice full-size pen blade. This is a pretty large pen blade, really. I mean, this is the full blade on some knives. And then it has a main large clip blade with the long, sometimes called French pull. It's not a match strike pull, as I see. Match strike pulls are when they actually have, they kind of are cross-cut inside. They kind of look like an internal file. You know, they're meant to have friction to light a match with, although I don't know that they're for that specifically. I think it's just because of how they look. But this is just called a long nail pull or a French pull. Notice it's got a great little swedge on the one side here. And now, like in this knife, the swedge is purely decorative. On a lot of knives, the swedge is actually there to clear so that the pen blade, when they're on, you know, when they're on opposite ends but in the same layer, so the pen blade will tuck by it. But this is purely for looks or for stabbing capability, maybe. I don't know. But what we've got here is a Camillus, New York, USA, 3-line tang stamp. The underlined Camillus, New York. I don't think it's particularly old. It's been a while since I looked at this knife, like probably about at least a good year. So I believe this was in the 60s or something like that. But yeah, this was the first knife that I kind of got interested in. I started like looking up online and So, and I discovered all about pocketknives.com, and I started looking for information here. This is a Camillus Model 16. Very simple. Just a little equal end jackknife. Now, why I'm calling it a jackknife instead of a penknife, I mean, technically it's a penknife too, but in my opinion, this would be a jackknife is when the blades, if it has multiple blades, they'll open at one end. A jackknife is like the most simplest type of boy's knife. You know, very simple, utilitarian type boy's knife. If you add another blade and it opens at the same end, you can still call it a jackknife. If the blade opens from the other end, then I would call it a penknife. Yeah, I mean, take that for what it's worth, which is nothing. Then, next up in that same lot, in that drawer, I found this guy. I was a Boy Scout as a kid. I really enjoyed being in the Scouts, so I'm always interested in Scout stuff. And this was a nice little Scout knife that I found. Again, it's got the Delrin scales that are meant to look like a jigged bone, which is also meant to look like stag, so it's like a synthetic of a synthetic of a synthetic, if that makes any sense. It's got the Eagle Scout shield, the Weeblos emblem, I believe that's called. I forget, it's been a long time. But this is your basic Scout knife. Nice stainless steel bail, nickel silver bolsters, brass liners, thick brass spacer, and it's also got this carbon steel spacer in there too, which is interesting. But anyway, the first layer, we got the ubiquitous cap lifter screwdriver. It's a must-have for a multi-tool or Swiss Army knife or Scout knife. Then we've got the lobster claw style, safety style can opener. Basically the same as like the Camillus or Imperial safety can opener. You know, it works. It's not the prettiest can opener. It's not the most multifunctional tool since you don't get a screwdriver with this design, but you know, it does its job as a can opener. And that's the main point. Check out, they even got a little notch here for pulling out the pen blade. Oh, that's not a pen blade. That is a reamer. Very simple reamer. It's actually concave on this side, so that's designed to make this, I guess, chisel into the wood if you're actually trying to drill with it or something, or ream something out. But I'm sure it would be very effective. Looks like it's been heavily used. And finally, we get the coup de grace, the main blade, with the Ulster USA stamp on the front, a whole lot of nothing on the back. But on this big, broad, beautiful blade, you can still see the original blade etch. Official knife, Boy Scouts of America. So yeah, this is an official Scout knife. Now, this Scout knife is really what got me in deep, and this is where it led me to YouTube. So I ended up Googling, looking for Ulster Scout knives, and I came to a video by a guy named Hobie on YouTube. And then I watched a couple of Hobie's videos, and then I saw some Swiss Army knives, and then I discovered Swiss Army Dan and Tobias, and so on and so on and so on, and Patty, and all these great guys. And these are guys who've, like, I consider friends now. They've all helped me out, supported me, all had kind words to say, and they're all great, guys I've learned a tremendous amount from, because I am by no means an expert on this stuff. Even though I talk like I am, I really don't know jack about squat. I'm just learning like everybody else, and I just try to share what I learn. That's all. I'm not trying to be up here on a soapbox telling everybody what it is. These are just my opinions and my thoughts. But anyway, so this led me to YouTube, and then I started getting into Swiss Army knives. And I'm only showing one right now, but it's one you've all seen before. It's one I'm extremely proud to have. It's my favorite Swiss Army knife. This was the one that hooked me. This was, when I found this, I totally got suckered into the lure, the thrill of the hunt. That's what it's so cool where you can go out and find something rare, and valuable in a pile of junk. To me, I just love that. And yeah, so this was the first nice Swiss Army knife I got. I had bought a bunch of Spartans, and basically anything that popped up for less than $10, I was grabbing it for a while. And then I started to realize, hey, let me pay a little more and get some nicer stuff. And I took a chance on this because it didn't tell me it was an 84 millimeter in the description, and I was still new at it. But when I got it, I knew it was something special because it was slightly shorter than all my 91 millimeter knives. So then I got into the whole 84 millimeter scene, which is a whole nother rabbit hole of Swiss Army knives. But yeah, we've got a 4-layer. This is the 236. What the heck? 236 KAU. I think I got it all. K is for small. A is for scale tools. U is for the bale. And yeah, and the 236 is the Huntsman configuration. So on the back, we've got our 5-turn fluted corkscrew. Lovely. Those aluminum liners are in fantastic shape. We've got that rimmer. Bam! No sewing eye here. No holes for this one. Got the cap lifter screwdriver with the wire stripper, with the cable, the sheathing stripper inside the curve here. We've got the Plus Pat can opener with the patented 2D Phillips small flathead technology, patented in 1951, I believe. Next up, this is something that makes this knife a little special. This is in the mid 60s they switched to like the saw how it is now, so they went to straightly vertical teeth, not on a subtle angle, and they also changed the number of teeth, and they also went to a brushed finish, a machined finish on this, so it's got like little lines in it. The old ones like this are actually polished like the rest of the tools. Very cool. Great action on that guy. Then, and we got here what it's all about with the 84 millimeter adventures, the adventure of the 84 millimeter scissors. And then I started trying to collect every 84 millimeter knife I could get my hands on, especially if it had scissors. And then, you know, I dove into tackling the whole debacle about the legendary myth of the broken scissor machine that shut down 84 millimeter production forever. No, that didn't happen. We all know that didn't happen. I'm sure the machine broke many times, but they had faded out, these 84 millimeters with scissors, by the mid 80s. I mean, what it basically comes down to, at a certain point, by having so much diversity in their product line, they're almost competing with themselves. So there becomes a point when you're developing products that having more, you're not catering to more potential customers. You're just giving the customers you already have more options to choose from. And if you give them an option that is slightly cheaper than your flagship with all the same features, then you're just undercutting yourself. So yeah, they did find a way to keep the 84 millimeters in the very basic formats like the Bantams, the Taurus, the Sportsman, but they cut down everything 3 layers and larger pretty much. And yeah, so these 84 millimeter knives are super cool, and they're still the core of my collection. But, you know, I've had to move on. You can only look at so many Swiss Army knives. So, I mean, not that I ever get tired of checking them out. But, you know, nowadays it's got to be something special for me to spring on a Swiss Army knife. Or it's just got to be if I see an insanely good deal, I'll grab it just because I know there's somebody else who will want it and I can pass it on to, you know, for instance. But, yeah, so that is the long, short, convoluted story of why this video is here now. So, anyway, I would like to thank all of you for watching, all of you for your support, your kind words, your critiques. I want to thank Tobias, Hobie, Mark Kaufman, Patty's Potato Peelers, God damn it, can't remember. But and you guys know, you guys have been absolutely wonderful in helping this channel grow and encouraging me to keep doing this. And I really enjoy your channels, and I learn so much from all of you. And I really like this little community of knife people that's going on over here at YouTube. It just seems very friendly and supportive and helpful, with a lot of it doesn't have a lot of the negativity that seems to creep into a lot of online communities. Sure, you get some jerks once in a while, but for the most part, they're very few and far between, whereas other places, you're just wading through them to find a useful comment. Anyway, I keep rambling. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peter Grizz out.